We all hear these wild stories about people becoming millionaires overnight, but let's be real. Is that a strategy or is it just luck? What if I told you that hitting your first million isn't like winning the lottery at all? It's more like playing a strategic game, a game that you can actually learn and win. So let's get into it. And that's really the key right there. You can't build a life on pure chance. The actual path to wealth isn't some chaotic, messy scribble. It's a clear line. It's all about figuring out the rules of the game and then, well, playing it better than anyone else.
All right, so before we jump into playing, we have to know what we're even playing for. Are you trying to be ultra rich, or is the real goal financial freedom? Because trust me, the difference between those two is absolutely everything.
Think about it this way. Chasing that ultra-rich status, it's kind of like the end of a Monopoly game. You've got this giant pile of cash, and you're just guarding it. But financial freedom, that's the real sweet spot. We're talking a $1 million net worth. It's not about being famous. Most millionaires are actually quietly wealthy. The real prize is living without that constant nagging financial stress. That's the win.
Okay, so if financial freedom is a goal, how do we keep score? How do we know if we're winning? Well, it turns out there's really only one number that truly matters.
And here it is. The whole game is scored using your net worth. It's a super simple formula, but it's the only one that counts. A real millionaire isn't someone who makes $1 million salary. It's someone with a net worth of over $1 million. It's not about what you earn. It's about what you own minus what you owe. So let's break that down, starting with assets. Assets are just everything you own that has value. Yeah, the obvious stuff is in there. Stocks, cash, your house, but it's also your car, any gold you have, and yes, really, even that $200 pressure washer sitting in your garage. If you can sell it for cash, it's an asset. Now, for the other side of the coin, your liabilities. This is all the money you owe other people. Think mortgages, car loans, any student debt you're carrying, and of course, credit card balances. You just subtract this number from your assets, and boom, that's your net worth. Okay, seems simple enough, right? Assets minus liabilities. Got it. But hold on, because this is where most people get caught in a massive trap that can totally derail their whole journey. Just imagine for a second. You do it. You build something, you work like crazy, and you make exactly $1 million. It's sitting right there, clear as day, in your bank account.
So here's the big question. You've hit the magic number. You're officially a millionaire, right?
The answer, and this might sting a little, is a hard no. Not even close. You forgot about your silent partner in every single thing you do financially. The government. If that $1 million was income you earned, you can wave goodbye to nearly half of it in taxes. It was never really yours to begin with. And this brings us to the first real rule of the game. If you want to actually keep $1 million, you're probably going to have to make $2 million. Now that changes the strategy completely, doesn't it? We need a way to get there much, much faster. So, how in the world do we get to that $2 million mark without it taking our entire lives? Well, the answer isn't about working twice as hard. It's about working smarter. It's about using a powerful concept called leverage. You know the two classic paths. You've got the job path. It's stable, but man, is it slow. Then you've got the business path. Way faster potential, but it's a minefield of risk. But what if there was a way to speed up the slow path and reduce the risk of the fast one? That's exactly what leverage does. It's the secret ingredient no matter which path you're on. And this is the perfect way to think about it. Leverage is like a seesaw. So many of us are pushing with all our might on the wrong spot and getting nowhere. High leverage is about finding that one perfect spot where just a little bit of effort creates a huge, outsized result. It's the physics of wealth. So this breaks it down perfectly. At the bottom of the pyramid, you've got labor, hiring people. It's the oldest form of leverage, but it's expensive and frankly a huge headache to manage. One step up, you have capital, using money to make more money. Super powerful, but you need money to start. But at the very top, that's the holy grail in our modern world. Code and media. Think about it. Software works for you 24/7 while you sleep. A piece of media can talk to millions of people at once. That is the ultimate force multiplier. Okay, so we've got our accelerator. That's leverage. But leverage can't multiply nothing. It needs force to work with. That force is your income. And all income comes from one single place, creating value. This is the one equation you have to burn into your brain. At its core, money is just an exchange for value. And value is created when you provide a solution to someone's problem. It's that simple. You want to make more money? You just have to solve bigger, more painful problems for people. So how do you crank up the value of what you're offering so you can charge more? Well, this gives you the cheat sheet. You can ask yourself, can I solve a bigger problem for someone? Can I solve it faster than anyone else? Can I make my solution easier or more convenient? Can I increase the certainty of the result by offering a guarantee? And finally, can I solve this exact same problem but for a client with more wealth? And this brings us to this amazing final point. What happens if you take that last principle to the extreme? You solve a massive, painful problem for just one very wealthy client, like a big corporation that pays you a huge sum every year to keep solving it. Well, that's a perfectly valid, high-leverage strategy. We just have a different name for it. We call it getting a high-paying job.
So there you have it. That's the real game. It's not about luck. It's about understanding value, applying leverage, and knowing how the score is really kept. Which leaves me with one last question for you to think about. When you look at that leverage pyramid, labor, capital, and code and media, which one do you honestly think is the most accessible? The easiest one for a beginner to grab onto and start using today? I'd love to know what you think.